78 shots in the last 3 games, 2 goals, 6 points in 7 matches, relegation zone of the second division. Where did all of this go wrong? Of course, Wisła has 2 games in hand compared to the rest of the league, at least when I'm recording this audio, but it genuinely puzzles me. How does a team that almost qualifies for a conference league, wins against Spartak Trnava and Circle Bryś, can be in the relegation zone of the second division in their country? This sounds a bit like a mystery, and I thought we need to look at this case. The White Star, as the club's nickname, has gone from a Polish superpower in the 2000s to being in danger of getting relegated to the third tier now. The club, despite its moments of brilliance like winning a bloody Polish Cup, is on a downward spiral. And this video is all about it. And we're looking if there's a solution that would allow the team to move up. So if this is the type of videos to enjoy, hit the like button, subscribe. I'm very grateful for all of the activity on the recent videos. And now, let's begin. To start this video, let's just ask ourselves, how did Wisła even get into this position? Because it wasn't an accident. Even though the downfall started back in 2011 when Wisła failed to qualify for the Champions League in the 87th minute against Cypriot side Apoel, I think we should start in around December 2018. Wisła Kraków back then was in genuine danger of collapse and starting over in the 5th level of Polish football, which has happened to multiple clubs in the recent years. But despite that mess, there was hope for the club. First up, 2 very rich Polish businessmen showed up. Wojciech Kwiecień and Wiesław Włodarski. The first one was a big Wisła Kraków fan, and both of them were interested in buying the club from Wisła Sports Association, which also is a great bit for a separate story. But following the club's abysmal financial state, they quickly backed out. However, there was another chance for Wisła to go forward into the future, and that hope was under the name of the company called Alelega, whose owner was Van Nale. Now, who is Van Nale? Do you think anyone watching this video, including Wisła fans, actually knows? Not sure, but let's review the info I gathered. Van Nale is a French-Cambodian businessman who had his business named Alelega registered in Luxembourg. Along with his sweet Mats Hartling and their future director of football Adam Pietrowski, Vana was meant to take over Wisła and become its new owner, effective immediately. But here comes the problem. Nobody could verify who Vana actually is. It's been claimed he's a part of the Cambodian royal family, which nobody could verify. He also claimed to be a part of Manchester City's board, but we couldn't verify this too. Vana and the other investors needed to pay 12 million Polish zloty, roughly 3 million euros, in order to formally take over the club. And now it's time for a massive plot twist. There's much more stuff to this, so I just ran through it quick. Basically, on the deadline day of the supposed takeover, Van Nale fell sick while flying above the Atlantic Ocean. What was he doing up there? I don't know, but that deal fell short right after. At this point, it was near 100% certain Wisła is, at best, starting over from the 5th year of Polish football. Until a club legend showed up. You probably know the name from Dortmund days, Jakub Błaszczykowski. He bought whatever was left from the club at this point, along with Tomasz Jaździński, a new chairman Rafał Wisłocki and Jarosław Królewski, who later on became the majority owner. Jakub offered to play for the club too, for minimum wage, which would all go to match tickets for kids from orphanages. He did that until he retired from the sport in 2023, but let's be honest, he stopped playing in 2021. And while it was great news at that moment, sports-wise, it's a bit of a different story. Błaszczykowski was one of the league stars in his first 1.5 years in the club, scoring multiple beautiful goals and keeping Wisła just above the relegation zone. But then came the 2021-22 season. Wisła hired a Slovak manager Adrian Gula. You may know the name from the video where I visited Emeška Žilina. He had a great start, but then was doing just like the club in the recent years, barely staying up. Midway through the season, he was sacked and replaced by Jerzy Brzęczek. Jerzy's stats in his 13 matches in charge are as follows: 1 win, 7 draws, 5 losses. That obviously wasn't enough, and as a result, after 26 years, Wisła Kraków got relegated. The plan was very simple in the second tier: get promoted as soon as possible, and the club had the perfect chance. In the first time of asking, despite a mid-season slump and sacking Jerzy Brzęczek, Wisła had the perfect chance to overtake Ruch on the penultimate match day. All they had to do was to win against Zagłębie Sosnowiec, who played for nothing pretty much. And they bottled it, allowing the Blues to complete their remarkable rebirth. I may make a video about this one in the future. The club fell into promotion playoffs, where they got knocked out by Puszcza Niepołomice, a club from a town of 16,000 people, which has never even been in the top flight before. The second season brought in the same tale: we need to get back up. Wisła finished 10th. Not even playoffs. But at least they won the Polish Cup, I guess. Next season they played in Europe, and they got past KF Lapi from Kosovo in the first round of the Europa League, from which they got knocked out quite massively by Rapid Vienna. Going down to the Conference League, the club had its one of the most dramatic games ever, turning around the initial loss to Spartak Trnava to a dramatic penalty shootout, which ended with a 12-11 result for Wisła. And while they got thrashed at home in the playoffs by Cercle Brugge, they still won the second game, and even got kind of close to making another miracle of a comeback. And I think we caught up to the current state. 78 shots in the last 3 games, 2 goals, 6 points in 7 matches, and the relegation zone of the second division. Now, what could be the main reasons behind this? The downfall of the club continues roughly since 2011, but now it has reached new heights, or should I say, lows. First, I mentioned in the last 3 games, Wisła players made 78 different attempts to score a goal. These shots gave a total of 8.96 xg, which you could say is quite a lot and should guarantee at least 6 points. The reason Wisła scored 2 goals out of this is probably that the xg of a shot on average is 0.1148. For comparison, Warta Poznań, who just got relegated last season and are fighting for survival too, are on 0.1152. Fairly similar result. But let's just consider both teams are now fighting for survival in the second tier. Then I went on to check Ruch Chorzów, who also went down from Ekstraklasa last season and now are around mid-table. They're on 0.1442 xg per shot. And what about Wisła Płock, who are second in the table? 0.1375. The difference is about 2 or 3%, so that shouldn't be that much of a problem. The problem is, the average team in the league takes around 9 shots per game, and they can convert it. Wisła takes on about 20 shots. This surely guarantees a lot of goals, even with an xg per shot being at a low number. But then I looked at the highlights from Wisła Warta game, and something was evident to me. Warta was playing a low block, which forced the home team to keep shooting from distance. Wisła did hit the crossbar or the post a total of 3 times in the first half only, but all of those were long shots. There were maybe 2 chances that were in the penalty box. One was a header and the other was a shot from quite a tight angle. Summarizing, the team from Kraków is usually dominant on the pitch, but the problem is the quality of chances they produce. I am not a fan of a tiki-taka that forces you to basically walk into the net, but solving your goal-scoring issues by spamming shots from distance is far from ideal. Another issue could be the squad building, which usually is an issue for teams that are not doing well. We're going back to Wisła's relegation season. In February 2022, Adrian Gula was sent packing. He was subsequently replaced by Jerzy Brzęczek. After relegation, Jerzy stayed in, but was replaced by Radosław Sobolewski in early December. Radosław's tenure lasted just a full year, and Wisła's second year in the second tier brought in 8th place on December 1st. That was enough to sack Sobolewski, replace him with Mariusz Job, who won 2 games, albeit he was a caretaker, who then got replaced by a permanent manager in Albert Rude. The Spaniard lasted only until the end of the season, but at least won that Polish Cup. From this new season, the team is led by Kazimierz Moskal, one of the club's legends, and he is the man who led Wisła to both Conference League qualifying playoff and the relegation zone. Do you see the pattern I'm going with here? In the space of the last 3 years, there were 6 different coaches. I know Polish clubs love to sack coaches at any given opportunity, but you can clearly observe the best teams tend to keep their managers in charge. What I'm saying is, you can't really get results if you're changing your vision every 6 months. You're not usually going far in the league doing this, maybe aside from an odd season. Just give Kazimierz Moskal time, unless things go dramatically bad. Saying this, they may have gone dramatically bad already. One side of the squad building problem done, what about the players? Maybe they're not really extra klasa level? Maybe the scouting isn't quality enough? Well, the last question was actually valid, because the former sports director, Kiko Ramirez, brought in 11 Spanish players in 3 transfer windows, and at a certain point, the team had 10 Spaniards. That was because Kiko is Spanish himself, but it seemed like being a Spaniard out of contract was the main criteria. Of course, there were great deals, like signing Angel Rodado on a free, but half a year later, Sergio Bonito was signed, and he failed to score a goal and went back to Spain after just a half of the 22-23 season. Here comes another interesting part. Wisła has players that could do well or already have the experience of playing in Ekstraklasa or better leagues. I'm not talking about Angel Rodado, who recently carries the team. It's also another striker in Łukasz Zwoliński, who has over 60 Ekstraklasa goals, or Tamas Kis on the left wing, with experience in the Dutch top league and the Hungarian national team. Even the backline could be solid. Alan Urega, over 200 appearances in the Ekstraklasa. Igor Łasicki also played in the Polish top flight, Serie C and a bit of Serie B. Joseph Colley, although he has a long-term injury, has played in Chelsea U23s and the Swedish league. I could go on and on, but you already get the point. This is the part where I'd rather ask Wisła Kraków fans of what they think about the men up top. By that I mean the actions of Jakub Błaszczykowski or Jarosław Królewski. Are they actually helping or damaging the club? Is there something they could do better? Let me know in the comments below. Recently, more and more Wisła fans start to blame Królewski, which you can hear in this clip recorded after the Wisła Warta loss. The main man speaking is Królewski, the club's chairman. You get the point. The Wisła Twitter space is divided between telling the chairman that the football club is not the same as Królewski's AA business, saying there should be some massive changes to the club. Some are telling that it's mainly the footballers that aren't really on that level, but we've already discussed this in this episode. There's as many opinions as people supporting Wisła, especially considering the fact Jarosław puts his own money into the club. And yet the debts are still rising. Those debts are mainly the money Królewski puts into the club as loans, and around €1 million that Wisła is missing because UEFA has not paid the club for European performance. The reason is 2 transfers from 20 years ago. A huge plus note goes to Jarosław for constant interactions on the social media channels with the fans, which makes the community connected to the club. After all, it's just not looking good. It's not looking good at all. It can change if Wisła suddenly starts winning games, like the club can do and has already proved many times. But right now, nothing is going according to plan. But if I was to name the main reason, I'd say it's the first one. Whenever the teams are playing low block against Wisła, the team from Krakow can't really find the way into the net. And I think we should just wait. Wisła has games in hand. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, you can hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. I think Wisła just needs 2 or 3 wins and will catch the momentum they need. But what is your opinion on the situation? Maybe you have more insights to this. If so, leave a comment down below and I will catch you on the next one. And if you are wondering what goes on with Van Ali, he tried to buy Göztepe from Turkey like 2 or 3 years later.